This very video that you are about to watch right now, it has been for at least more than 2 to 3 years now. I don't know how long the video came out, was leaked, but the most interesting part is this, that this video will never, ever be forgotten because the plan or the exposition behind this very video that makes it interesting that everybody is now taking interest for those who saw this video because months ago there's one comedian that I called A1 from United Kingdom. He made a reaction about this very video and it went viral. And then again, I saw this Serikin Daria, is a comedian and also a musician, made a reaction about this very video. And seeing this, it gives me joy that people are now beginning to see what are the plan the Western have for us. You know what I'm saying now? It gives me joy. And if you go to his YouTube channel, it generated a lot of viewers. It gives me joy personally, and I just want to react on it. It's not long, just about 20 minutes. Just about 20 minutes, but it gives me joy that people are now beginning to see these things that we are talking about. And without wasting much of your time, let us play the video so that we can watch it together. And also hear his own analysis. Hear his own analysis. Then you can also see from his own point of angle and then understand that the Westerners, they don't have a good plan for us. They don't have a good plan for us. But the thing here is this, that the rulers in Africa, they are all in the cage of the Western power because of the corruption. Because of the corruption. Because of the corruption. Listen to it.
This video is not for you if you are a tribal bigot, you are too religious, you are tribalistic, in fact you are too quick to zage mutum, that is quick to voice person. This video is for rational thinking Africans and Nigerians who will understand the things I'm going to talk about. This video is going to be long, put your mind there, but I am not going to tell you rubbish. This video I start now, it might pain you. The things I'm going to talk, it might pain you, it might go deep into your mind, but the thing is this: everything I'm going to tell you here, they are facts and nothing but facts. Do you remember when recently I did a video and I talked about how that if we are going to be here and thinking that Nigeria and Africa, West Africa, is going to just develop overnight, that we are deceiving ourselves? We have been programmed not to be developed. There are evidences and facts to prove this.
Du kaufst ein Produkt für 5 Euro ein und verkaufst es für 25 Euro weiter. Wie oft würdest du dieses System wiederholen, wenn du die 5 Euro erst bezahlst, wenn der Kunde das Produkt für 25 Euro bestellt und bezahlt hat, du auch als kompletter Anfänger über das Internet schon morgen damit starten könntest und halt dich fest, kein
Let me play it from my phone. Let me play it from my phone. Let me play it from my phone because of too much adverts because of too much adverts. Let me play from my phone. Let me play it from my phone because of too much adverts.
This video is not for you if you are a tribal bigot, you are too religious, you are tribalistic. In fact, you are too quick to zage mutum, that is quick to quest person. This video is for rational thinking Africans and Nigerians who will understand the things I'm going to talk about. This video is going to be long. Put your mind there. But I am not going to tell you rubbish. This video I start now, it might pain you. The things I'm going to talk, it might pain you, it might go deep into your mind. But the thing is this. Everything I'm going to tell you here, they are facts and nothing but facts. Do you remember when recently I did a video and I talked about how that if we are going to be here and thinking that Nigeria and Africa, West Africa is going to just develop overnight, that we are deceiving ourselves. We have been programmed not to be developed. There are evidences and facts to prove this. Some of those evidences and facts I have, taken time to gather them to show you people so that you will understand the things I have been talking about. These are the kind of things that does not go viral. This is the kind of content they don't share. This is the type they don't want people to see. As a matter of fact, if you too much, they will now ask you to delete it. Or they will ask the app owner to delete that content. They do that a lot. Sometimes you go and look for some of my video, see them, they don't delete them. You don't know what's in the happen. But just in case this finds you well, my name is Serikin Daria. I am an historian by profession, a comedian by unemployment. Maybe what I plan to do be this. So, somebody sent me this video. I took my time to understudy the video to see whether it was doctored or it was real. Then I watched this video. See the video. Listen to this person talking in case you don't understand.
Sub-Saharan Africa has been fundamental to the global prosperity of the advanced countries. And Africa had a role to play. It has a role as a raw material producer. We will not allow Sub-Saharan Africa to escape that. Okay, we do everything to keep Sub-Saharan Africa where it is, also impoverished. It's absolutely vital for the prosperity of everyone else. So let's get clear about that. Okay, and this means all the economic structures, all the global institutions, and the economics we teach everyone is all designed to keep Africa exactly where it is. And whether it is Europe or US or now China, it's always the same. We need Africa to be impoverished because we need those raw materials and we need them dirt cheap. Okay, so that's the message. It doesn't mean to say that there's nothing Africans can do. Of course there is. This is what it's about. Because if Africa does do something different, I assure you living standards of all those in Europe and North America and Asia is going to fall. Okay? And that is a big price to pay. I assure you that the West is not going to allow that without a big fight. Okay, so the job of many Western academics is to convince Africans they have to keep doing what they're doing. Okay, and to show them it's your fault that you're poor. It's not our fault. It's your fault that you're poor. So this is what we do in academic institutions. We know the basic forces that have caused this underdevelopment. We know it's colonization. We cannot afford to allow Africa to industrialize and start producing manufacturers. Okay, so we will do everything to stop that. And I'm going to show you how we actually block that. We had East Asian rapid industrialization processes. So in the earlier period, we had Japan and Korea and Taiwan. Okay, rapid growth. sucking in raw materials from Africa, driving up the prices. After those countries finished industrialization, then sub-Saharan African growth rate again fell. Sub-Saharan Africa is condemned to this role, just the supplier of raw materials, not a manufacturer. The currencies are collapsing of these countries, and many of them are sub-Saharan African countries. After colonization ended, we needed new structures to keep these countries where they were. Okay? And the first of those is aid. Okay? We give them aid. Aid for what? Actually, we give them aid to keep repressive regimes in power. That's all. All the hypocrisy about transparency and democracy and bullshit like that, it's all bullshit. But it would go to country after country offering loans. And if the president did not accept the loan, they were killed. It's just economics. It's economic warfare. The rich declare war on the poor. It happens everywhere. It happens in the country. The rich control the government. Of course they do. You really believe you have democracy? Come on. Go up. Who has all the subsidies and income support? US, Europe. The largest budgets in the world for supporting their farmers are Europe and US. You see, we're keeping them dependent. We're keeping them on a string. This next round of the WTO is designed to block that. To block anyone else getting on top of the ladder.
Now, you don't watch this video. This man here you are saying, as a matter of fact, if this man you are saying in this video is too old, he will not be more than 60 years. Nigeria, for the most I know, is more than 60 years of independence. It means that at the time that the global imperialists and the first world country were looking for where to get mineral resources and raw materials to keep their people and nations going, this human being was not given birth to. But do you know why? This human being is teaching their next generation. He's talking to their students that this is the plan on ground. This is the doctrine on ground and must be continually serviced if our nation must be, if our country, if we must continually survive as a people, we must impoverish Africans. We must always make sure that any of their leaders who do not want to conform with this our doctrine, we will fight them. You heard what he said. He said any of the leader who refuse to collect the loans that they are offering them, that leader is going to be fired. You see, every time I come outside to say they are borrow again, it is against the will of our leaders, but they do not have options. Now by force, so you must collect them. If not, you go fight. You see that Joe's slave trade might have ended. It is still very, very much alive. It is still existing. Because these nations will look and think that they are our Messiah. Each time anything happens and we stand up to our post to want to repel the evil governance, the things we are seeing that are not okay by us electorates. We will not be saying, for instance, maybe we are protesting against maybe police brutality, against bad governance, against hike in fuel price, against things we have that we cannot get easily as citizens. And maybe the police start to disperse us with tear gas or even shoot as citizens, for instance, or the military want to push us away. We will not be doing video. We are saying the world is watching. They are doing. I continually tell you that nobody is watching. The only people that are watching are the ones sitting down that are doing nothing about it. Do you know that I can as well follow the bandwagon of those doing the regular kind of comedy? And me too, maybe I buy this, I post, and then bloggers will write, where would they see this money from? But listen to me. Where would they see this money from is not the problem. You pay the city money, buy a car, buy a house. But if the country is not safe, those who cannot find it will not only come for your car and house, they will come after your life. You see, I used to tell somebody that the Nigerians that I know, we as a people that I have understood it as an historian, whether you are Hausa, whether you are Fulani, whether you are Yoruba, whether you are Igbo, you are Tip, you are Edo, you are Igara, or you are Tip, you are Idoma, any language, Bona Bagi, or any language be, Gana, just mention it. We are a people that by default we are born to have compassion on a fellow human being. That is how we are designed as Africans, by extension. But do you know that this imperialist country will sponsor a faction of us to begin to cause chaos among us? They want to say a belief we do not conform with. And if we say no, it becomes a problem. Do you think that a normal Nigerian, whether he is Hausa, he is Fulani, he's from Kanuri, is any language, is Igbo, is Yoruba, is mention the tribe, we stand up and say he wants to carry Chakagula, he wants to carry any weapon that can fight people in mass, people he has lived with as kids, people he has grown up with. One day he will just decide to just buy everybody, all in the name of one belief. Listen to me. They look for a way to sell this belief to the faction of us. They employ religion, they employ ethnicity, they employ tribalism. What do? They sponsor everything that has happened in this country as war. Any fight where it is happen for Naija is sponsored by these people. You don't hear them from their mouth. Social media is a big place. There's so much thing, evidence where you keep like this. If you leak, we don't get the info. I am only sending this as a signal to our leaders to be wise. Somebody came out on the other day on Al Jazeera to give one revelation, and nobody is raising eyebrow. Nobody is talking about it. What is video of this man talking about? Who is sponsoring all this terrorism? I do not want to mention any terrorist outfit because me too I get family. But what this man? You know, the other day I started the Kubo Koma side. He said just as he has his own private military that can be hired to do any work, that is how it also exists in any part of the world. That is absolutely correct. Though you might not like some of the way he approaches he uses or something, but that thing he said is actually correct. This man you are going to see in this video is one of the private military firm that was sponsored, I don't know which country he's from, to come and combat the terrorist group that abducted the Chibok girls. They came, they were on that. In fact, I need you to watch him talk for himself firsthand. He said he not be understand what thing happened. It was later he now discovered that the chaos and the abduction was sponsored by another nation who wants to continually get mineral resources from that region. And nobody is talking. I told you earlier, this video will long small. Look at this. Just like the other man took. I need you to watch this first before I continue.
Would you walk us through the Boko Haram offensive? Boko Haram offensive was really not part of executive outcomes. That was STEP International that actually partook in that offensive. I need to first of all make it very clear that we were a subcontractor. There was a prime contractor appointed that appointed us as a subcontractor. Our initial aim was not Boko Haram per se, but it was to rescue the Chibok girls. They were the girls that had been kidnapped, and where the Western response was #SaveTheGirls. That type of nonsense does not save girls. Unfortunately, these girls became victims of a situation where the security had broken down in a specific area. They were kidnapped, and that was the first mission, rescue the Chibok girls. We then did a selection process of the Nigerian soldiers. The soldiers were retained after the selection process
were then trained in a very specific way to conduct a hostage rescue operation. And that requires a very specific type of person. However, approximately 5 or 6 weeks into the training of the hostage rescue team, we were asked to change our mission. And that mission was to go to a town called Maiduguri in northeast Nigeria that had come under severe threat of Boko Haram. We then rapidly had to transition what we were doing and suddenly train a very offensive force with a minimum of equipment. And we rushed to Maiduguri. We met with the 7th Infantry Division commander. We finally understood the pressures he was under, and our suggestion was to him that this force we had trained, which we named the 72nd Mobile Strike Force, would actually spearhead the division. And that is precisely what we did. The operation was in 3 phases. The first phase was to actually cut a dividing line across northeast of Nigeria and isolate Boko Haram into 2 defined areas, and then mop up one area in the south was the start, and after that was done, mop up in the north. The division would follow behind, occupied terrain. We would train the division in situ in defensive positions, etc. But we were never allowed to execute the entire operation. So in 1 month, we took back terrain larger than Belgium from Boko Haram. We were not allowed to finish because it came at a time when governments were in the process of changing. I think President Jonathan's government possibly saw the entire Boko Haram contract, if we call it that, almost as a last gasp in order to regain popularity. The incoming president, President Buhari, was heavily supported by a foreign government, and one of the first missions was to terminate our contract.
Could you name that foreign government?
Yes, we were told it was the United States, and they had actually funded President Buhari's campaign. The campaign manager for President Buhari came from the US. And I'm not saying that the United States is bad. I understand foreign interests, but I would have thought that a threat such as Boko Haram on the integrity of the state of Nigeria ought to be actually a priority. It wasn't.
Why do you think the US would intervene to abort such operation?
Again, I can't answer that. I think that the US can answer, but what I've come to realize that is when a government's foreign interests clash with the state's own domestic interests, conflict is bound to ensue. And those conflicts usually just continue with no end. And we can look at all the conflicts in Africa where foreign forces have come in, they've prolonged those conflicts, they haven't ended those conflicts. And the amount of money and manpower and equipment thrown at those conflicts says to me that something is wrong if no end result is achieved. And surely that end result should be to end the conflict and establish a basis for negotiations, come to an agreement, and then re-establish governance. But that's not what's happening in Africa.
Leute, schaut euch diese App an. Ihr könnt durch Spiele spielen echtes.
We continue. Let the advertisement finish, then we continue.
Okay, you have watched this man. You see, just like the other man made that revelation in the other first video you watch. Any leader that refuses to collect loan, they buy him. And they make sure that the little they have made rich will continually to rule the majority of the poor. And whatever they dictate is what the poor must follow, because these rich ones are in charge of the machinery of the state, namely the military, the police, the resources, and whatever. And you remember, after God, now government, you can.
And you see, this very point, this very point that you just talked about, in the issue of loan, I'm going to make a program concerning the refinery of Dangote. So what the Zoo Nigerian government is doing is to collect this very loan and then sponsor their own. You are going to hear a very, very important exposition against Nigerian government, that they are the people, they are the ones actually sponsored Dangote refinery. through the loan that they borrowed from the Western powers. You know what I'm saying now? In order to enrich their own, establish their own. I don't even know what I'm saying now. So that is the reason why that our people that want to die for one Nigeria, they don't know what actually the plan that the Fulanis have for the whole nation, including they themselves that wants to die for one Nigeria. You know what I'm saying now? They can never ever give you an opportunity to excel. So why is it that our people are bent on serving Nigeria? Just in the case of the program that we just did concerning the traditional rulers in Biafra land, mainly in Imo State, that they themselves right now are planning on how to assassinate these traditional rulers. You know what I'm saying now? If the government in question do not collect this very loan from the Western powers, they are going to remove that person from being whatever leader or president or whatever that they hope. That is the reason why that when you see the revolution that is going on cool here and there, it is that the people don't want to have anything to do with the Western powers. And that is the same reason why that the citizens are in support of this coup that is going on all across the African continent. Let us continue. But we are going to come back tomorrow or next to do that very exposition concerning Dangote refinery for you to see, more especially those people that want to die for one Nigeria, to see that when they take this money, they sponsor their own. They sponsor the terrorists to keep on causing mayhem, killing people. They take this loan in order to establish their Islamic school. They take this one to establish their own, not for the benefit of you that want to die for one Nigeria, but for their own benefit. Then why are you bent on dying for them? Why? Let's continue.
Only talk, you cannot fight government. In government, see, you can have money, but who get power pass who get money. Power comes before money. So what these people do is that once they have the money, they sought to have the power so that they can control the money. That is why you see they will do anything possible to enter Senate, to become reps, to become this, so that they can send prayers to their loyal boxes. They will say it to our best and nothing will happen. They share this money in unbelievable peoples. For instance, look at this. Just listening to this. Is this not so unbelievable? A country that is doing so much debt, a country that is suffering this so much. Look at what people who were appointed for, or who we did not vote for and force themselves into power. Look at what they are doing to a state that calls themselves the giant of Africa. Look at this.
The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project over the weekend filed a lawsuit against Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas over the plan to spend 40 billion naira on 465 exotic and bulletproof cars for members and principal officers of the Senate, as well as 70 billion naira as palliatives for new members. The suit is coming on the heels of Godswill Akpabio's statement in which he revealed that the clerk of the National Assembly had sent holiday allowances into the various bank accounts of senators. Serap is seeking an order to restrain Akpabio and Abbas from demanding or receiving the 40 billion naira on exotic cars and other exorbitant expenses until an assessment of the socio-economic impact of the spending on millions of poor Nigerians is carried out in the interest of the public, among other requests.
You see, I shake my head. Do you know that There is a reason why for some time I will just stay and decide not to talk or do anything. Nothing that interests me. Because some of the information I am private to as an historian. If I want to talk and from the way they pay me, it will cause problem. You see, this is the reason why this same imperialist nation and this so-called first world country we think are looking out for us. As sponsoring agendas, are creating educational system that will not grow us as a people. Who designed the system of education? 633 or 634? Who designed it? It was an idea sold to us and we believed it. The whole of us must go to school and must speak English. So if I come to you and I speak in this tongue, somebody will say I am an illiterate. Are you not understanding it? Meanwhile, the woman who has sold this idea to you will go to their own university and study your local language so that they can go near and exploit you. It's not a big deal. We are so fluent in English, but backward in understanding the reality of life. Who tell you that Nigeria cannot be a state of El Dorado where everything works? Who tell you that Nigeria cannot be law abiding and keep to order? Who tell you that Nigeria cannot work?
Of course, Nigeria cannot work. That's the reason why that they have to wake up and understand that Nigeria must be disintegrated. They must understand this. Nigeria must be disintegrated. If people are saying there is no infrastructure, there is no education, there is no hospital, there is no this, there is no that, it is the way that is being designed for people to suffer until everybody wake up to the reality that Nigeria must be disintegrated so that we can now go back to the ways of life, the way we were before the colonization or before the creation of Nigeria. If people don't wake up to the very reality, then they are still sleeping. But some of us that have waken up, that is why we still keep on to this very agitation for Biafra to be restored, and the rest of the people living in the contraption, believing in the contraption, doing everything just for their own pocket. By the time that they wake up, they can join us. But for us that are already waking up and understand that there is no mekwatalism, there is no mekwatalism in Nigerian government. No mekwatalism. It's not possible. It is not possible. A country where if a certain person is being voted, selected by the people, and said that this is the person that we want, and then the government, through the Western powers, will say, no, this one is not going to work for us because this is the plan that he have. Just like what this professor said, that they can never allow any African nation to develop. They can never allow any African nation to have an aggressive industrialization, because according to what he said farming is not going to improve any country's economic boostment. But the only thing is industrialization. The only thing that can make Africa to return back to its former glory is by aggressive industrialization. Former glory before they came to colonize us. We've been living as a one people. Now they came, they divide us, and they are ruling us. So seeing this very video from this Serikin Daria is a comedian. I'm very, very happy to see it. That is why I have to react on it. I'm very, to be honest with you, I am very, very happy to see. And with these, some of his brothers of Hausas, when they see it, they will now begin to understand the main problem why Nigeria is not moving forward. they will now understand the main reason why that this insurgency, over 7 terrorists in the northern state are still there, but the government don't want to do anything about it because it is being sponsored by the Western powers in order to keep on extracting us. So on this note, I say good evening